Hey y'all, it's Jessica from Sloppy Swatches. Today I have a look at the Caribbean Christmas collection that is available right now from Colores de Carol. This collection was sent to me for review and they have been out for a bit, but they are still available. So I'll go ahead and link her storefront and social media down below. So first up is Past the Ponce, and this is described as a silver linear holographic packed with silver and blue metallic glitters, iridescent glitter, and silver galaxy hollow glitter. So I do believe that this is in a clear tinted base, but it's very dense and really easy to build up. So here's a quick look at that brush shot, and then I'll show you how Past the Ponce swatched on my natural nail. So here's a look at that first easy coat. You can see it is fairly dense here. It could also work beautifully as a topper. I'm going to go ahead and let this dry and then show you how it built up for me on its own in 2 coats. I did notice that I had to kind of spread out those larger blue glitters a little bit, not really hard at all. So here's a look at that second coat. It does definitely amp up that coverage, adds a ton more glitter, but it was still just maybe a little bit sheer. If you wanted to go in with a makeup sponge, you could totally do the sponge method with this and get full opacity quicker. So I'm going to go ahead and let that dry and then show you how it built up for me here with my third and final coat, and it does push this polish right over the edge into being completely opaque. There is just a tiny bit of texture. One good coat of your favorite glossy top coat will smooth it right out though. So here's a view from another angle in direct sunlight with that glossy top coat, and then this is my final swatch photo at an angle again in that direct sunlight. So next up is Caribbean Wonderlands, and this is described as a holographic rose gold with metallic microflakes and silver hollow glitter. So this is definitely very pink and feminine. It makes for a beautiful, very pink rose gold shade on the nail. So here's a quick look at that brush shot, and then I'll show you how Caribbean Wonderland swatched on my natural nail. So here's a look at that first easy coat. This one is fairly dense as well. If you wanted to, you could totally use this as a topper over maybe a similar color. It does have a ton of metallic shimmer and they're very pretty on the nail. One coat was just a little bit sheer, so I'm going to go ahead and let that dry and show you how it built up for me with that second coat. So I am going in for just a little bit on the thicker side coats. 2 coats is super close to being completely opaque. I think depending on your application method and also how strong your visible nail lines, you may be able to get this one opaque in 2. I am going to go ahead and show you how it swatched for me with this third and final coat, and it does for sure do the trick and brings this polish completely and easily opaque. So here's a view from another angle in direct sunlight with a glossy top coat, and this is just everything in the sunlight. This is my final swatch photo again in that same direct sunlight. So next up is Sugar Cookie Mojito, and this is definitely among the top picks for me. This one is described as a reddish brown with golden to red shimmer, holographic dust, and hollow microflakes. So this has that lit from within type shimmer, very beautiful and classy on the nail. Here's a quick look at that brush shot, and then I'll show you how Sugar Cookie Mojito swatched on my natural nail. So here's a look at that first easy coat. This polish was a dream to work with. It is nice and pigmented, not completely opaque here in this first coat. That is to allow it to build up and add that kind of lit from within type look. It definitely builds up well on itself though. So I'm going to go ahead and complete this coat. One thing I noticed is that even though the shimmer is super strong in this polish, I didn't have to worry about brush strokes at all. They kind of just mellowed out all on their own. So here's a look at that second easy coat. It does bring this polish completely opaque for me. If you wanted to, you could go in for a third. There is maybe a little bit of nail line peeking through, but I was really happy with the finish at just 2. So here's a view from another angle in direct sunlight with a glossy top coat, and then this is my final swatch photo at an angle in that same direct sunlight. So next up is Santa's Swimsuit, and this is such a fun polish. It's described as a bright cranberry red jelly with red hollow glitter, iridescent glitter, medium dots, and hollow silver microflakies. I do recommend kind of tilting your bottle upside down for a while. The larger glitters did settle a little bit for me, but other than that, this is a beautiful micro glitter polish. So there's a quick look at that brush shot, and then I'll show you how Santa's Swimsuit swatched on my natural nail. So here, even with this first swipe, you can see there is a ton of glitter on the nail. It is in a red tinted base, which is going to help amp up that opacity a little bit sooner. It is a little bit sheer here at this first coat, so I'm going to go ahead and show you how to apply it here in 2. 2 coats did bring this polish completely opaque for me. If you like to go in super thin, you may need 3 coats, but really this one is a stunner at 2. So here's a look at that complete mani at 2 coats with a glossy top coat underneath artificial lighting. This is everything that I love in a red micro glitter polish. So this is my final swatch photo at an angle in that same direct sunlight. So next up is Palm Tree Topper, and this is described as a medium green with a multichrome shimmer and a holographic flakies. You can see that multichrome peeking through there in the bottle. It is a little bit more subtle on the nail. So here's a quick look at that brush shot, and then I'll show you how Palm Tree Topper swatched on my natural nail. So here's a look at that first easy coat. This one is, again, in a green tinted jelly base. It does have a ton of those holographic glitters in there. They are maybe a little bit more sparse than they were in the red, so this is going to take just a little bit more to kind of amp up and create that depth. So there's a look at that first coat. Here's a look at that second coat. It does definitely add more glitters and for sure makes it a little bit more opaque. I did still have a good flash of visible nail line, so I am going to go ahead and let that dry and then show you how it built up for me with this third and final coat. This one did do the trick and brought it completely or right over the edge into being completely opaque for me, and I am loving the holographic payoff. So here's a view from another angle in direct sunlight with a glossy top coat. I think this one would be cool with a matte top coat as well to kind of show off all of those metallic flakies. So here is my final swatch photo at an angle again in that direct sunlight. So last up today, I have Baby It's Warm Outside, and this is such a fun take on a Christmas polish or a winter polish. So this is described as a deep royal purple with blue and pink shimmer and ultra chrome flakies that shift from red to pink to gold to green. I am loving this multi-chroma shift in this super beautiful purple base. There's a quick look at that brush shot, and then I'll show you how Baby It's Warm Outside swatched on my natural nail. So this is in a purple tinted jelly base, but this has a ton of flakies, so it's definitely going to build up really well on itself. One coat, still pretty sheer, but it did go on nice and even. I'm going to go ahead and let that dry and show you how it built up for me with that second coat. So the second coat, of course, adds more flakies, a little bit more depth. I did kind of get out of the lines there a little bit, but I cleaned it up with acetone and a cleanup brush and had no issues. At 2 coats, it is still a little bit sheer for my taste, so I am going to go ahead and show you what it looks like with a third coat. And this one, again, is complete magic. It does bring it completely opaque, and I love the depth there in all of the flakies. This is another one that I think would look really awesome with a matte top coat. But here's a view from another angle in direct sunlight with 1 coat of a glossy top coat, smoothed it right out, and this is my final swatch photo, again in that same direct sunlight. So that does wrap up my swatch and review of the Caribbean Christmas collection. It's available right now, and I do recommend checking it out. If you're interested, I have more photos of any of the polishes featured here today on my blog at sloppyswatches.com, or you can also follow me on Instagram at sloppyswatches. So thanks so much for watching, guys. See you next time.